Hi everyone, thanks for taking the time to listen to this segment. Wanted to bother you all and take your attention to talk about travel tech and the digital transformation that we've had here in Hotelbeds and the journey that we've been on so far and where that journey has led us and what the complexities have been. So thank you for your time, and hopefully it won't be too boring. I'm going to start off with a little bit about me. I'm closer to 3 decades than 2 working in the technology industry. I have worked across pretty much every sector. Pre to this, it excluded travel and pharma, but now find myself in the travel industry. Spent the last 20 years working exclusively in high transaction real-time organizations. So been inside media, inside real-time gaming, and now I find myself loving the challenges inside the travel industry. Here in Hotelbeds, we have a combination of product and technology together. So I'm the Chief Product and Technology Officer. The organizational design is bringing those 2 groups together under one umbrella because we're very serious about the way we approach our agility and the way we approach product responsibility and customer experience responsibility in everything we do in technology. And I'll talk a little bit more about that over the coming slides. So who are we and what do we do? So Hotelbeds fundamentally, we're the world's leading bed bank. That basically means we're a B2B business. Working predominantly in the hotel and travel experience space. And what do we do? Well, fundamentally, we bring the hotels and the travel distributors, so tour operators, travel operators, online travel agency, airlines, loyalty programs, all these things that you guys will be familiar as part of your day-to-day business travel life or your day-to-day personal lives. And we curate all of the technical complexity of the distribution of those services together. And the value that we provide is obviously bringing the hoteliers, all of the hotels, be it independents or chains or small chains, together with the distribution of the services for everyone that's providing that hotel experience together. And this complexity is basically drawn out by, the distribution map. And we have developed technology solutions which enable us to create that simplicity between supply and client demand. It's an interesting industry for me. As I said at the start, I've moved around industries. There are no real industry standards for communication or transactions. There's a hell of a lot of geographical differentiation. The volume demand, especially over the last year with the challenges of the pandemic, can be extremely volatile. And also the challenges around accessibility of data and market penetration for independent hotels can be really tricky. And we're here to help and glue all of this together. Travel may not be particularly well known as a sector that's very heavy on technology, but fundamentally that assumption isn't a safe one. Nearly all of the travel industry is moving or has been through a digital transformation or is in the process of going through one. So that thought back to the high street travel agent and someone tapping away on a system, those things still exist and they're still a high value part of the travel industry. But then allowing the distribution and providing the capability as services is where people like Hotelbeds, where we come into the equation. So as I said, I'd like to talk today about our technology transformation. It's a journey. It's a journey that we are still on, and it's a journey that we expect to continue as the market kind of evolves. And I guess the first pillar of where we stand in all of the work that we've done historically and all of our plans going forward is actually our people. We're a people-centric organization. The talent and profile that we require across the group to execute transformation is a real balance between your leading edge technologists and also your people that really understand CX, the customer experience, that really understand the hoteliers and their challenges and really understand the customer network and what it is they're after. I mentioned earlier as well about the geographical spread. It means that we are working in multiple markets, and that means we need extremely talented commercial teams who we're very fortunate to have, who know these markets literally in some cases like they know their own families, spend a lot of time immersed understanding the edges, understanding the marginals, understanding where our technology can make a big difference to the services and solutions that they provide. And then it would be foolish of me not to mention, the last year with the pandemic and the challenges that's given us inside technology and given our people. And this extraordinary market turbulence has obviously led to the need for greater flexibility, greater agility, but also a real push in an area of quality of what it is that we do and produce, which I will talk a little bit more about later on in the presentation. Because ultimately the value of everything we do becomes hyper inflated by the fact that the market is so turbulent, the market has been severely impacted, and the behaviors of the governments worldwide haven't been chained together, and that's led to some complicated outcomes with the likes of things like travel corridors and capabilities and restrictions that we haven't historically seen in the market. And then when we think about the whole of our business and where technology sits, it's important that when we talk about our transformation journey, we focus on what our priorities have been and continue to be. And fundamentally transforming in an industry without standards and in an industry with so much volatility, especially of late, we have additional factors that pull on our priorities. It's fair to say that there would be a consistent dialogue on change of priority if we paid attention to every single minute movement, but we're very high on commitment. And where we commit to a technical change or where we commit to a specific priority, we maintain and stay that course. And that's been a key differentiator for us to enable us to actually deliver product that adds value and gives the ability for people in our ecosystem and our partners to be able to benefit from focus that will actually drive their business forward. So the first one of those pillars for us is scalability. We describe this as the responsive travel partner. Fundamentally, we've seen some extraordinary changes in the last year. But ultimately, what that's led to is the change of how you drive cost-effective digital transformation. Fundamentally, we have to operate whilst creating a fully automated, scalable capability, given explosive market behavior. And to cover that in slightly more detail, you don't want to have all of your platforms rotating at full tilt when we have 80% of all of the travel markets around the world closed down. In the same vein, with the remaining 20%, they explode up and down. When Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister in the UK, made his announcements last week about his expectations for the exit plan, the permanent exit plan for the UK, we had a huge voluminous explosion in activities. And that's across our partner ecosystem and across the demand pipeline. And it's at moments like that where the platform have been operating relatively steadily and slowly for a market like the UK on full lockdown, where you do not want your platforms to fall over on the basis of that sudden change, that sudden ingress of volatility. And how we've dealt with that fundamentally in our digital transformation is around our cloud strategy. So we have a genuine, and I use that word very seriously, hybrid multi-cloud strategy here at Hotelbeds. Meaning we have a mixture of data centers, as you would expect, for some core platforms. And then for a lot of our service entities, we have them distributed across cloud partners, predominantly with Amazon Web Services and with Google with GCP. And all of those services are set up to be entirely burstable. They automatically scale. And that scaling capability is a bilateral scaling capability. We've worked really closely with those partners, and that has enabled us as part of our overarching strategy, which we've delivered amongst our digital transformation strategy, allows us to burst our services up and down without attracting unsustainable cost into our business unit. It's been a really interesting thing, something that a few of us in the travel industry have started to label as the dreamer effect, where fundamentally people have been dreaming of going on holiday while they're caught in a specific location on full lockdown. And people will be at home and they will be browsing, and they'll be browsing one of our partners and putting together a dream holiday and this and that, and all of that to provide those services. That's still hitting our platforms. We are still displaying the availability for those hotels, for those hotels. Now, that may not turn into a booking, that may not turn into revenue inside our partner chain, but we still provide this service. And areas can heat up based on the strangest of factors, including, you know, something that's happened in a local popular TV show where, you know, I don't know, a very famous couple have traveled to a specific destination, and then all of a sudden everyone's going, oh my gosh, I would love to go to Bali for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden we will see us back in Bali. And as part of our cloud strategy, we've had to make sure that we can control efficiency, the cost, whilst having a fundamentally sustainably efficient service available inside the ecosystem. And what's our end goal here? Our end goal for scalability is that we can distribute any one of our services anywhere in the world with any one of our partners within 20 minutes. We work really closely with our cloud distribution with another partner called Rancher, who help us with our workload distribution. And that fundamentally enables us to move around regions. Some of those regions we do for the sake a bit of the real-time round trip time that's going to clients. For other regional changes we do for optimization just due to general transmission load. But fundamentally, we need to have the technical capability to deploy our services anywhere that we like. And by the end of 2022, we will have that full scale transformation complete. Our scalability journey will be complete, and we'll be able to distribute any of our workload services anywhere we want within 20 minutes. Next one really around our surety, and that's the reliability piece. You know, I've talked about being cost effective and being efficient. The cost effective obviously makes us as a business extremely viable. The reliability piece is all around what the value chain that we provide to our ecosystem, and then fundamentally the benefits of working with a value provider like Hotelbeds to our customers and to our hotelier and OTA networks. Fundamentally, you know, you always have very small windows of opportunity to deliver the most reliable outcome. And for us, this is obviously all about service uptime. And service uptime can be something that you can maintain with greater standards on the basis of your monitoring and metrics program. And in the framework of digital transformation for us here in Hotelbeds, that's been the real difference. It's moving away from monitoring and metrics, which are about post-event outcome, where we've had an outage or a technical event that's led to an issue inside our partner network, and moving instead to proactive, and therefore seeing a challenge long in advance and providing surety of service so that our all of our partners in the travel ecosystem don't actually have anything that affects their service in the first place. And that transformation into proactive metrics has been a long one and will continue to be. Fundamentally, that priority for us is part of the value and the reputation that we have. That reputation in itself connects with the value chain of us as a business and the trust that we have inside the ecosystem to be able to provide the service at all times. You hear a lot about 24/7 businesses and, you know, never sleep, the context of never sleep businesses, but we truly are a global organization. We may be based out in beautiful Palma, out in Mallorca, but we have offices all around the world and we deliver travel solutions all around the world on every continent. So fundamentally, when you're delivering services 24/7, and you can then provide proactive metrics that are constantly searching and constantly scanning for any potential issues to enable us to provide a perpetual service, the surety then that we then deliver is of high value. And what have we done technically in order to do that? Well, historically, we've been working with a couple of partners who have enabled us to turn the logs and metrics into learning capabilities and then use that learning to then create scanning capability and use that scanning capability to then look ahead and see across our technology ecosystem any possible risks. And then we mitigate those risks as fast as possible. Moving forward, we're excited to add more machine learning and AI capability into this space. And then hopefully this will give us additional confidence in our decision making, and especially when it comes to the efficacy of bursting either specific services outside infrastructure, because we obviously have software scaling as well as infrastructure scaling, and also finding potential maximum capacity capability within softwares around things like keys or transport layers connected to our transaction values. All of this can become completely automated, giving us more time to focus our valuable resources on moving our business forward in other ways, because our service sits there in a 100% uptime surety program. Now, 100% uptime, absolute dream, of course. What is our goal? We have the goal of being a 5 nines organization, and that's the direction of travel in which we are headed. Next on the list is security, and unfortunately, the last year especially has seen an extreme rise in security attacks across all industries. It's not just related to travel. There's been a lot of very, very well documented cases across all sectors where it's becoming a revenue stream for certain bad actors in space. The high value of the data that's held inside domain, and our responsibility of protecting our customer ecosystem is a key pillar for us. And from the perspective of where that journey has been from us from a digital transformation point of view, fundamentally, it's just a keystone of everything that this business has been doing for years. And as and when we see a new opportunity to protect our organization and therefore to protect our ecosystem and our partners, we are always at the front of the queue in order to go down that adaptation path. It's the case of an extremely healthy level of paranoia. It's a case of having much more investment in the preventative side of security than the reactionary side of security. All of our effort and investment predominantly goes into making sure we don't have an event in the first place versus having extraordinarily drawn out processes after the event. We do have force majeure processes, of course, but we focus more on protect than we do on the other elements. And we have a class leading team The group that we have working in the security area are specialists from multiple sectors and multiple backgrounds that really help us become the safe travel partner that is our goal. And as far as the digital transformation journey is concerned, we have a very strong history of implementing significant security controls. I think the key difference has been, as the industry has evolved, is making sure that those security measures we take don't then subsequently impact our production performance and then provide a degradation of service overall. You know, protection for the sake of speed is actually a difficult conversation to have. So we've made sure that all of the protection that we put in place and continue to invest in, one of the key metrics for us is that we don't then subsequently lose our ability to operate at the greatest speed and the greatest efficacy as a result of the change that we've made and as a result of the solution that we put in place. And I mentioned speed, beautiful segue just for myself. You know, again, I've talked a lot about being cost effective, you know, technology operation and its optimization, you know, and having an optimized global return of data speed is super important. We have really interesting integration paths. We have people within our ecosystem who integrate with us with our live API products. We have people who are integrated with us with offline products. We have user bases who are integrated with us using one of our back office UIs, user interfaces that we have, and we have people who interface with us exclusively using websites that we provide. And fundamentally, that accessibility and accessibility capability, as I said before, is global. And that means the speed and optimization that we have to keep in place, and the way in which we have to work through working inside the travel industry and remove the complexity for our ecosystem remains key, because speed is a factor, especially as we're all hoping for a return to growth in the travel industry. That is extremely important to everyone inside our ecosystem. And maintaining that capability, no matter where we are, has been a big part of our digital transformation. I mentioned before the cloud strategy, how distribution has been a big part of that capability. We've also made some significant changes in the technology that we use to actually lighten our payloads, and also the technology that we use. We have some fantastic machine learning and AI technology that works in our sourcing and business intelligence capabilities that enable us to actually sift through intelligently and automatically sift through the product which we are distributing and offering and making available, using our own algorithms, part of our own IPR. Using data lake technology, which is retaining all of our key internal data. And that in turn delivers us cost benefits, efficiency benefits, if you like. And then there are subsequent opportunity cost benefits that are then passed on to everyone that works with us inside our ecosystem. And there's an added benefit of working in the machine learning and AI space, which is this is an exciting work for our technology communities. It's an area that people get really excited working in. It's really interesting, the blend of being a data scientist working with engineers hand in hand to deliver these changes. It makes an enormous difference to us and to our people. So what does success look like? So what's the ultimate goal for travel tech transformation for us? When will we kind of like, I don't know, rest? When will we take our hats off and say, you know what, good job? So at the very least, the lowest end of the scale is that our customers are happy, fulfilled, and have all of their service realized in the value chain of working with Hotelbeds. That's at the very least. but preferably they're actually delighted, over the moon, working inside the ecosystem with the speed, reliability, the security and surety that we deliver them. And I think each and every one of our team members, everyone that works inside Hotelbeds, is super proud of what we've achieved. That's really what success looks like. And when we think about, you know, how we feel about our customer focus, we are fundamentally a B2B business, right? So in the B2B space, it's very different to B2C. As I touched on at the very start, relationships are key. The duration and length of those relationships are key. The trust in which they are built, the relationships our commercial groups have with them, it's all based on the surety that we provide with the technology solution that underpins it all. So a real key part of the value chain, and, you know, ultimately, fundamentally, what we're here to do. And as far as the team members are concerned, and, you know, everyone that works inside our product and technology group, you know, we have a lot of technical uncertainty to solve. You know, it's been, as I said before, it's a super interesting industry for me. You know, I spent my first decade working exclusively in telco, which is an industry that's managed to come together quite well, Apple aside, in terms of, you know, standardization, formatting, portability of customer, you know, journey in CX, where it's all become about the value chain of the best customer experience and pricing only, because customers can move around the port and have the exact same experience. If you're an Android phone user, you can go and buy a competitor phone and plug the same cable into it, and it'll work. And in the travel industry, we don't have any of those benefits yet, where we can come together in that way. And that technical uncertainty in itself should deliver pride inside any product and technology organization, that we get to overcome those challenges. And, you know, the transformation that we've done is, as I said before, not just about the technology, it is also about our people. And fundamentally, our people are the answer to every single one of the challenges. Everything that we've done so far and everything we want to do in the future with our digital transformation has been done on the basis of our people. So are we done? You know, what's next? What's the next big priority for us? So, I mean, short answer, we're never done. We will never be done. It's not just that we want to provide the best service. We're also always looking for efficiencies to benefit, you know, the travel ecosystem in general. We're going to go through the next 2 to 3 years with the industry trying to get well after the challenges of the pandemic. We very much expect to see the nature and behaviors of travelers changing. And we need to be ready to adapt around that travel ecosystem changing, how people travel, what's important to them, factors that are important to them. These are all elements of data. These are all drop elements of fact that we will need to build into the solutions that we provide into our ecosystem. So we'll never be done. And I don't think the digital transformation for us will ever be done, because there will always be opportunities to get onto. I think it's important, however, to stress that we are also not a business that do technology for technology's sake. We like to be adapting highly around the value chain. This isn't straight around cost. This is all to do with the fact that technology for technology's sake doesn't actually provide anything to our industry or anything to our ecosystem. There has to be an underpinning value that we can attach. Some of that will be based on customer experience. Some of it will be on price efficacy, and some of it will be, again, speed, security, and surety that were covered off before. And I think ultimately, if we were serious about providing the maximum value to our customer ecosystem, the other part of our responsibilities and our priority is just to keep on top of the evolution. We're expecting the next 2 years to be extraordinarily fast-paced. Here at Hotelbeds, we've really tried to make the most of the challenging environment we've had over the last year and invest very wisely on what we choose to do in our digital transformation. The interesting thing about the growth over the next couple of years is there are some very, very influential people in our industry who have very different opinions about which direction we're going to go. And we need to make sure that fundamentally the foundations here in Hotelbeds are capable of dealing with any one of those directions and in any direction that we find ourselves having to transform. So we don't see ourselves as ever being done. And ultimately, we're excited about, the next couple of years, excited about being involved in the growth of an industry that has been so publicly hit by the crisis, but we believe will spring back not just strongly, but in a different way with all the new opportunities that have been taken, but also excited about what that means for us in technology. It means the opportunity gate for us to make a difference to this business and to this sector has never been higher. So over the next 2 years, our ability to transform even more will do nothing but grow, and we're excited about what that will bring. So thank you very much for listening and hearing a little bit about our journey here in Hotelbeds. And now I'm happy to take any questions from any of you.
So a big thank you to Simon Matthews there, Chief Product and Technology Officer from Hotelbeds, who gave us that presentation. We're now going to be joined by Simon for a Q&A session for around about 10 minutes or so. I can see Simon is waiting in the background with us. Simon, I think you've turned on your mic but can't see your camera. So if you're able to, those controls are in the top right-hand side there. If you can just switch those on, and hopefully you'll be able to come through and we can kick off with the Q&A session. Just a reminder again to all those joining us, if you're on the Beyond Business Buzzwords page, you can ask questions in that chat area of the page. So if there's anything you'd like to ask Simon as we go through the next 10 minutes, please do pop those in the chat. I can now see Simon has joined us, so crossing my fingers that he can also see and hear me, and getting that positive nod from you. So welcome, Simon. Thanks so much for joining, and thanks for the presentation and offering kind of your narrative on the journey that you're taking and continuing to take. A really nice presentation from yourself there.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, thank you very much, and pleasure to do it. And I hope some people have found it interesting and insightful to learn a little bit about what we've been up to in the travel sector.
Yeah, no, it was a really good overview, and I'm keen to put some questions to you now as well. So let's crack on. A lot of the discussion this morning has been around, and always is on the conference, is around kind of the people side of digital transformation and any kind of business transformation, and a lot of questions and kind of probing around the area of how the pandemic has, in a sense, changed that kind of the need to continue to evolve as an organization in a sense of people and culture. And I know you alluded to it in your presentation, and you did touch on that people side, which was great. But just want to kind of keen to further understand perhaps how you've managed that massive shift into different ways of working, and what it's meant for you as kind of as a kind of a chief technology officer, a chief product officer. How difficult has that been to kind of lead and instill that change? Because I think a lot of the barriers that has been discussed, particularly today, is that of kind of communication. So how have you found the last 12 months?
Yeah, I think it's been extremely challenging for all of our communities inside Hotelbeds. It's not just exclusive to product and technology. We're one of the USPs of our business is the contact element, right? It's a relationship organization built on relationships, built on commercial foundation and history and trust. And a lot of that has been built face to face all around the world, in different places all around the world. So it's really, really tough on our commercial groups kind of moving to the model. The only thing that's been helpful, as awful as it is it's affected us all worldwide. And so everyone being in that same boat has also created a lot of unity in the commercial sector. Being selfish, talking about what we've done in the kind of product and technology space, it's really been about making sure that the overarching mission the vision and the behaviors about how we're trying to go about it and what it is we're trying to deliver is just made clear at all times. There's been no shortage of work, and I'm sure many people will chime with that. You know, what the kind of commercial impacts have led to is an investment window with minimum disruption of an unprecedented type, right? And what that means for us in product and technology is more work, not less. And so it's been about, you know, making sure everyone's working within the right type of safe harbor in the right way, collaborating as best as we can, bearing in mind that, you know, we're an agile community, so we're used to working closely face-to-face in groups. And then moving into the digitalized world using online collaboration tools. I think we've pretty much got the lot. You name it, we've got all of these that we've been experimenting with multiple different ways to collaborate. And then we've just been trying to have as much fun as we can remotely. And then as the markets evolve and the countries evolve and freedoms evolve, we hope to be able to get together as a team, all face to face, and I think everyone's going to have a headache the very next day when that happens.
Yeah, they certainly will. But we're all looking forward to it. And then more of a kind of a personal question with regards to kind of your experience in technology and working in product teams and everything. You said at the start of the presentation, and then when you were rounding off the presentation, that you've worked in a number of different industries. Just how common are the challenges as a technology executive that you face across different those industries? Are they one and the same? Do you kind of see the same thing as you've moved along your career, that organizations need to focus on and have that particular challenge? So kind of looking at whether or not there are unique challenges to the work you do within each industry, or whether it's more of kind of an overall challenge. Hope that makes sense.
Interestingly, you've actually used the number one word that I would use to create commonality across all the sectors, and that's focus. I've been doing specifically digital transformation now for 15 years. So introducing products in organization or introducing organizational design that creates a digital footprint for a business for 15 years. And the one thing that is consistent throughout is the need for focus. It's really easy, especially if you're very serious about your credentials in transforming. These programs can be incredibly long pole, right? They can take, you know, 1.5, 2.5 years to complete all of the threads to be able to truly digitize your business. And that takes a level of commitment and focus, which a lot of businesses and sectors struggle with, because you have the competing elements coming in, marketing conditions coming in, you know, other aspects of the evolution of customer behavior or customer experience coming in. So staying the course, keeping that focus is the one thing that I think has been consistent across every single sector as a real key challenge. I think that aside, it's just the nature of the ambition of the business, right? So, you know, the problems with transformation in digital, when I was in the media sector I was in, was actually just around the business even getting its head around the concept of a service that was directly provided into a consumer's hand over their device versus something that was either hidden behind a wall or a retail situation, and then subsequently all of the experiences you have to provide and provide for as a result of giving that power and bringing it. Those types of things are definitely different industry to industry, sector to sector. You know, the customer behavior, the nature of the product or the service you provide, that kit always delivers real differentiation.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. Thank you, Simon. And then finally, I just want to come back to the point you got to at the end about you don't know what the future holds in terms of consumer behavior, or obviously you're working mainly as a business to business, or how those other businesses will respond to those kind of consumer needs, and what that landscape looks like over the next couple of years with regards to the travel industry. You said you've kind of, you can understand the various outcomes that might happen, but how do you kind of react quickly when one does start to play out? How difficult is it going to be for you and your team to kind of react to that and go down that road in a technology sense?
I think this is where we have one massive advantage in the landscape, which is the fact that we're a data-driven organization. Yeah. So nice. Fundamentally, normally we see it playing out in the data before actually the trend. So for example, you hear about air corridors opening and it hits the news, maybe, I don't know, whatever your chosen news function is to consume, and you'll see, oh wow, right, the air corridor has opened up between Israel and Dubai, for example, or the UK and the US, or whatever it happens to be. But we would have seen that beforehand in our data. And that gives us that edge and the ability to respond. We are a data-driven organization, all the way up to the very top. Look at the behaviors of, especially of our CEO, very, very data-driven, looking for those trends, looking for those market opportunities. So we get to move quickly because we see it before it hits that evolutionary peak. And that's been the key to our fast mobility.
That's great. That's great to understand as well, how that happens. So thank you for that, and thanks so much for your presentation, Simon. It was a real pleasure having you included in the event. As mentioned, a really good overview and understanding of what you're doing at Hotelbeds, and particularly within the travel industry. And glad we could have you join for that quick Q&A session to kind of delve into a few extra points. So really appreciate it, and thanks so much for your time.
Awesome, great. It's great to be here, and good luck with the rest of the event today.
Thank you. Cheers.